I never thought I'd be the guy writing about how I found out my wife was cheating on me, but here I am. Her name's Jessica, she's 32, and I've been with her for about 6 years now. At the start, everything seemed fine, pretty standard stuff. We had our ups and downs, but honestly, I thought we were solid. We'd go out, laugh, talk about our future. She was what I thought was the perfect wife, smart, funny, a little bitchy when she wanted to be, but I liked that about her. It kept things interesting. But slowly, little things started to change. It all started about a month ago. She'd come home late from work, claiming she was pulling long hours on some new project with her boss, a guy named Mark. I didn't think much of it at first. Jessica's job is demanding, and I figured she just wanted to impress her boss. But then, the late nights turned into more frequent absences. She'd leave early, come back late, avoiding my calls during the day. She'd lie about meetings or client dinners, but I knew she was hiding something. I caught her texting late at night, fingers flying over her phone, her eyes darting around like she was afraid I'd catch her. When I'd ask her about it, she'd brush me off, say I was paranoid or insecure. Classic Jessica, she's good at lying, especially when she knows she's done wrong. One night I came home early from visiting my parents. I'd planned to surprise her with her favorite takeout. As I unlocked the door, I heard the faint sound of her voice, giggling actually. I froze. My heart started pounding because I knew that giggle. It was unmistakable. I crept closer to the bedroom door and peeked inside. That's when I saw her. Jessica was sitting on our bed, her phone in her hand, and she was texting someone. But it wasn't just any text. I saw a message pop up from Mark, her boss. Something about planning the perfect night. Can't wait to see you, and a bunch of emojis that made me want to smash my phone. I stood there, completely stunned. My mind was racing. How could she do this? I had trusted her, I had believed we were happy. She always said she loved me, that I was her everything. And then I see her planning to meet up with her boss. It felt like the ground was shifting beneath me. I didn't want to believe it was true, but the evidence was right there in front of my eyes. I felt this burning anger, a mixture of betrayal and heartbreak. I couldn't just walk away and pretend I hadn't seen it. I had to confront her. But I wasn't sure what I'd say yet, or what I'd do if she denied it. The shock was just starting to wear off, replaced by a cold fury I'd never felt before. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My stomach was churning, and I couldn't get the image of her texting Mark out of my head. I kept asking myself what I did wrong, how I missed the signs. I had always thought we were strong, that we had something real, but apparently I was blind. Jessica had been so convincing. Her lies, her stories about late nights, her fake exhaustion. It was all a big act, and I was just too stupid to see it. I decided I couldn't keep pretending everything was normal. I needed to talk to her, get the truth, or at least her version of it. That's when I confronted her in the afternoon. She was in the kitchen making some tea, acting like nothing had happened. I didn't even hesitate. I just blurted out, "Jessica, I saw your messages last night. You've been lying to me about where you're going after work. Who is Mark and what's really going on?" She froze for a second, then turned with that typical bitchy smirk. "Oh, so now you're spying on me. Nice. Wow, you really think I'm cheating just because I text someone? Grow up. It's none of your business who I talk to at work. Maybe if you weren't so insecure, you'd trust me more." I felt my blood boil. That's just what she always did. Deny, deflect, insult. I pressed harder. "I saw the messages, Jess. Don't even try to tell me it's just work stuff. I saw the emojis, the plans. Are you really telling me you're just texting your boss about work while lying to my face?" She scoffed, crossing her arms. "You're overreacting. I don't owe you an explanation for every little thing. Mark is just a coworker. We're working late sometimes, that's all. You're making something out of nothing." I couldn't believe her. Her tone was so dismissive, like I was the crazy one, but I knew better. I knew she was lying, and I could feel my trust in her dissolving. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "If you're sleeping with him, Jessica, I want to know right now, because I don't want to be married to a liar." Her eyes flashed, but she kept her composure. "You're seriously accusing me of cheating? You're ridiculous. I don't need to cheat to get attention from someone at work. Maybe I just like having friends, okay? Don't be so paranoid." It was like a slap in the face. That's when I realized this wasn't just about her lying about work hours. It was about her lying about everything, about her sneaking around behind my back. The more she talked, the clearer it became that she had been lying for weeks. Every excuse, every late night, every working late, it was all bullshit. That's when I decided I'd had enough. I told her I'd find out the truth one way or another. She scoffed. Again, but I saw the flicker of something guilty in her eyes. That's when I knew this was far from over. After that confrontation, I felt like I was walking on a razor's edge. The anger and betrayal were eating me alive, but I knew I couldn't just lash out blindly. I needed a plan, something cold and calculated. I wasn't going to let her get away with this. No way. Over the next few days, I started digging, poking around her phone, her email, her social media accounts. I needed proof, hard evidence that couldn't be dismissed as misunderstandings or overreacting. Jessica, of course, was trying to act normal. She'd go out shopping, or say she was visiting friends, but I'd catch her slipping up. She'd be distracted, nervous, occasionally trying to hide her phone when I walked into the room. Then came the moment I'd been waiting for. One night, I saw a message pop up on her phone again, and this time it was from Mark. It was explicit. They'd been talking about meeting up again, about how much she wanted him, and how she couldn't wait to feel him. I read every word, my hands trembling. I felt a sick mix of rage and heartbreak. All those nights I spent working late, thinking she was just tired, just stressed, she was with him. And I knew I couldn't just sit on this anymore. I needed to confront her again, but this time I'd be ready. I wanted her to know I had undeniable proof. The betrayal cut deep, but I also felt a strange clarity. This wasn't just about some affair. It was about her outright lying to my face and making a fool of me. So I waited until she was asleep one night. I took her phone, scrolled through her messages, and saved everything. I even took screenshots of the most damning conversations. When I finally went to bed, I was a mess, confused, furious, hurt. But I also felt a strange sense of control. I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. The next morning, I woke up early, ready to face her. I knew I had everything I needed to confront her properly. That's when I decided I'd lay everything out. I would tell her I knew she'd been lying, show her the proof, and give her a choice. Come clean or face the consequences. I didn't know what I'd do if she denied it again, but I knew I couldn't keep going like this. The betrayal had shattered whatever trust we had left. I was prepared for her reaction, whether she broke down, tried to lie her way out, or got angry. I was done being played for a fool. The game was up, and I was ready to take my shot. That afternoon, I sat in the living room, the evidence spread out on my laptop. I felt like a damn detective, but this was my life on the line. I took a deep breath and called her into the room. Jessica looked at me with that usual smirk, the one that used to make me feel special but now just made my stomach turn. She asked what was wrong, acting like everything was normal. That's when I dropped the bomb. Jessica, I know about Mark. I know about your texts, your plans to meet him. I have proof, screenshots, logs, everything. Her face instantly changed. That smug smirk faded into a look of pure panic. She blinked rapidly, trying to recover, but her voice was shaky when she said, "You're crazy. This is just your imagination. I don't know what you're talking about." "No, Jess," I said, my voice cold. "You've been lying to me for weeks. You've been sneaking around, cheating on me with your boss, Mark. Don't bother denying it anymore. I've got everything right here. You think you can just lie your way out of this?" She stared at me, speechless for a second, then shot back with that nasty tone that only she could muster. "Look, you don't know the whole story. You're overreacting as usual. Maybe I was talking to Mark because I'm stressed, or maybe I just like having someone to talk to. It doesn't mean anything. You're making a mountain out of a molehill like you always do." I felt my fists tight. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The woman I married, the woman I trusted with my life, was sitting there trying to brush this off like it was nothing. Her lies were so brazen, so contemptuous. I told her, "No more excuses, Jessica. I saw the messages. I know the truth. I want a straight answer now. Are you sleeping with him?" She looked at me with that defiant glare, then scoffed. "Honestly, you're pathetic. You're insecure, jealous, and you're just jealous because I'm better at my job than you are at yours. Mark is just a boss, a guy I work with. You're overblowing it. You need to get over yourself." That was the last straw. I realized I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I felt like my world was crumbling, but I knew I couldn't stay silent. I told her bluntly, "I'm done. If you're lying, then I'll find out soon enough. But I'm not going to be played anymore." This marriage is over if this is true. She looked at me, her face a mixture of anger and contempt. She didn't say a word, just stared. I saw the flicker of guilt, maybe, or was it just her anger? Either way, I knew I had to get out of there. I grabbed my keys, and as I walked out, I told her she'd regret this. I didn't know what she'd do next, but I knew my life was never going to be the same. I'd been betrayed in the worst way, and I felt more lost than ever. The days that followed were a blur. I moved out of the house not because I wanted to, but because I needed space. Jessica kept trying to call, to text, to somehow convince me that it was all a mistake, that she loved me and it was just a stupid fling, something she never meant to happen. But I wasn't buying it. I knew her for what she was now. A liar, a manipulator, someone who thought she could get away with anything. I stayed with my brother for a while, trying to get my head straight. Every time I thought about her, about those messages, about her sneaky little lies, I felt this deep ache, a mixture of anger, sadness, and disappointment. I had trusted her, believed in us, and she had thrown all that away for some fleeting affair with her boss. I kept asking myself how I didn't see it earlier, how I was so blind to her real nature. Eventually, I sat down and made a firm decision. I couldn't keep pretending that this was just a phase or a one-time mistake. I deserved better. I deserved honesty, respect, someone who wouldn't lie to my face. I realized I needed to move on, even if it was the hardest thing I'd ever had to do. I told her I wanted a divorce, that I couldn't stay married to someone who thought they could cheat with impunity and then lie their way out of it. Jessica lost her temper when I told her. She called me names, accused me of being insecure, jealous, controlling. She even tried to guilt-trip me, saying how I was ruining her life and how she deserved a second chance. But I wasn't going to let her manipulate me anymore. I knew the truth, and that was enough. What hit me hardest was realizing how much I'd invested emotionally, only to be betrayed so callously. I felt empty, like I'd lost a part of myself. But at the same time, I felt a strange sense of relief. I was finally free from her lies, her manipulations. I realized I'd let her walk all over me because I wanted to believe in us, in the life we built. But now I saw clearly. No more illusions. Looking back, I learned a lot. Trust is fragile, and once broken, it's nearly impossible to repair. I also learned that sometimes you have to walk away from what you thought was your happiness to preserve your sanity. It hurts, yes, but I know I'll be okay eventually. If there's one thing I want to tell anyone reading this, never ignore the signs of betrayal. Don't let someone lie to your face for too long. And if you find yourself in a situation like mine, don't be afraid to walk away. Because in the end, your happiness and self-respect matter more than holding on to something that's already broken. Now, as I sit here reflecting on everything, I realize how much this whole ordeal has changed me. I used to believe in the idea of forever, of trust, of loyalty. But people are complicated, and sometimes they're just not who you thought they were. Jessica showed me her true colors, and honestly, it hurts like hell. Still, I have to admit the experience has made me stronger. I see more clearly now what I want and what I don't. I've started rebuilding my life piece by piece. It's slow, and some days are worse than others. There are moments when I wake up feeling like I could have done more to save what we had. But then I remember her lies, her sneaking around, her dismissiveness. That's what pushed me to this point. I refuse to go back to that kind of pain. For anyone else out there going through something similar, trust me, you're not alone. It hurts and it's messy. But you've got to put yourself first. Don't stay in a situation where you're constantly doubting, constantly questioning if the person you love is actually faithful. Because at the end of the day, nobody deserves to be lied to and betrayed. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but honesty and respect are everything. I've learned that revenge isn't worth it. I thought about ways to get back at her, to make her feel the pain she caused me. But I realized that would only keep me tied to her, keep me from moving forward. The best revenge, I decided, is just walking away, keeping my dignity intact and proving to myself that I'm better than that. So, here I am, telling my story because maybe someone out there needs to hear it. Sometimes life throws these terrible, unexpected things at you, and you think you'll never recover, but trust me, you do. You find a way to pick up the pieces and start over. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because someday, You'll look back and realize that what seemed like the end was actually just a new beginning.